All right. Well, welcome everybody to Leading the Way. We're going to be unpacking chapter 9, I believe it is, Taking the Stand. Yeah, chapter 9. Wow. I mean, I think I say that every time I open this book. And so grateful for Brian. Brian's the one that recommended this book to me, and I read it and I was like, oh man, we definitely got to do this book. So if you have some suggestions, for upcoming book, I've got some other ones on my mind, and I'd love to hear what you're reading and finding some um, really just kind of it's able to you're giving you the ability, I think, to really start to see your own wiring and understand a little more and use it more powerfully in your life. I know that's what's happening for me, and that really was the design of this group. So thank you guys for coming along with me on this journey. So yeah, so let's get into it. I think let me just add. I'm gonna put a co-host out there. Let's see. Let's see. Michelle Murray, would you mind being a co-host for me?
Sure will.
All right, I'm gonna put you as a co-host here. All right. So if you see anyone come in the room, you can help us out. All right. So let's get into this. Chapter 9. Wow, really rich. Lots of good stuff. A couple things. I'm going to just share a little bit about some of my takeaways, just for myself, and love to hear what you're taking away from this chapter for you. So, taking a stand. I think one of the things that I took away first and foremost is some unchallenged traditions in my life, um, and really caused me to try to do some examination, and it hasn't stopped. It's really just sparked I guess the right word to use is just more curiosity, um, really to why I do certain things or see things the way that I do or do things in a certain way. And it's created a pause for me more than anything. And I think, when I think about some of the things that I do in my routines, a lot of times I just do them without any regard for anyone else. Um, and there's an impact to that. There's a cost to that, and so I don't have it figured out. I'm just still unpacking it, but I love that it's brought some consciousness to are the things that I'm doing in my life, is there a parallel to where I've come from or what I want to align in my life, um, for for me and for the people that I love and that I do life with. Um, so that was one of the things that I'm starting to kind of unpack here is, really challenging some of the traditions that whether they align or don't in my life. Um, I think the other thing was for me was, and this one has really kind of been illuminated over the last, I don't know, maybe couple years, is easy money has a cost. And so when I think about it, for me as a fireman, I don't know how easy that is. I've always thought it was easy because one of the principles I learned early on was working hard. Um, and so what I'm starting to see over the last few years is that although I can go to work and put in hours, um, there is a tremendous cost to what I always considered easy money. So starting to look at my own rationale behind that, does it really um, allow me to consistently live up my values in attaining the easy money? And so, yeah, lots of great stories in here. Very hard to read personally. I'm sure for some of you, I'm sure for all of you. Just tremendously feeling grateful that a lot of these social norms that we don't have to live with, but I think it's definitely challenged me to see the world differently and to have a lot of compassion for people in different parts of the world that endure these type of social norms. So just a couple of my thoughts. I have a couple of questions for you guys also that I wrote down for myself and I'd like to throw out to the group. The first one is, what unchallenged traditions do you have that you need to bring forward for conscious examination? What unchallenged traditions do you need to bring forward to conscious examination? So, open to the group. Who'd like to go first? Is that you, Anthony, or did you take yourself off mute?
Oh, I must have took myself off mute accidentally.
Okay.
Hey, I have a question. So, clarification. Do you mean things that we do where we're like, this is just what I've always done? This is what my parents did. This is what the Bolanos do, right? This is like, and it's not serving us. And we've just bought into it culturally and adopted it as a way of life, even though it's not bearing any fruit, but we're just not willing to get that piece of clay off yet, or what do you, can you be more specific?
Well, I think you nailed it. I don't know that it's a necessarily a something you made a decision that you're not going to address, but in reading through this chapter, there was a lot of traditions talked about and things in the culture and society that were normal. And I saw the parallel, maybe some of you did or didn't, that there's traditions in your life that, or social norms that you just do because it's what has always been done. So if you have something specific that maybe came to you, if not, no big deal. Oh, go ahead, Kristen.
Okay, I'm glad that Rachel kind of asked that question because I was a little confused. And I don't know if this is still kind of what you're asking, but there are some things that I guess the old Kristen would have just not thought twice about doing and going to places really to please the people and didn't want to hear. And I'm real funny about being flaky. So if I say I'm going to be somewhere, I better be dead if I'm not there. Where I guess I'm trying to learn that, like, yeah, I'm not willing to spend my time with you. So like an example is like my girlfriend before we came out here. If she says, hey, do you want to go meet for lunch? And I'll be the first one to be like, so who's going to be there? And if it's just someone I'm just not willing to give up my time. And I feel like even when I've been doing like health assessments lately, or even my clients, I tell them, I'm like, yeah, I vacation with my healthy family now, and I'm more likely to go to their kid's birthday party, even versus some of my own, where I'm like, not that I don't love my family, I do, but I guess I've cut out a lot of the negativity, or at least I'm trying. Where, and being in Texas now, I definitely have no trouble not going to some of the stuff. So I don't know if that's what you're asking, but like I've become very aware of, like, and here's an example too, like I knew there was no team call on Monday, but I'm in such autopilot to get on that team call on Monday for you guys. I don't know, maybe because I've been going there for 4 years. There's just some places even, and what's sad is I talked about it with Allie. Allie confirmed right before, we reminded everyone. I still went to go get on that call because I just know those are the places I want to be. So I don't know if that's what you're asking, but like I said, I'm just left and right. Bless you, Brian.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I think part of it, the question is I think, you know, one of the things that was kind of illuminated for me was, are you just going through your day in life with unchallenged traditions, routines, things that you've always done? And I think what has given me the ability to really do is to look at how I'm feeling my day. look at how I'm feeling my life. What traditions do I have that don't suit the life or the values that I have today? And I think for all of us, I think it's a great way to start living out that consciousness in our life, because it's important. I mean, it's shaping UC for a lot of the stories, although it's not the right word. I'm not going to use it because that will demean maybe some of the stories, but they're powerful stories. They're very unique stories. But maybe for you, some of the traditions aren't the ones that were in the stories that were, they were life and death. But I think for me, it just gave me a new lens to look at my life. So, Patrick, Sherry.
Hi guys. For me, along those lines, one of the points, I mean, there are so many things in here that we could really pull out of here. But along the question that Tim is asking, was about how I send my money into the world, right? And one of the examples of that is, if I'm at the store, I'm at somewhere, and I see a guy that's begging for money, in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm not going to give this guy my money. I worked hard for this, and then he's going to probably take it and buy drugs or a cigarette or something. And so my mindset has always been, hey, if you really want money, maybe I could buy you some food, or maybe I could help you in another way. So, how I send my money into the world, it means a lot, because the way that we look at money, right? How do I value that? And so, you talked about on page 194 about money becomes the conduit, a way to express our ideas. So again, my idea is like, hey, you know what? Give this guy money, he's going to probably spend it on drugs or beer or something like that. I don't drink, I don't smoke, so why would I even do that? So I begin to look at things just in a little different way of how I express who I am with my money. And I wrote down, what I think about money has to align with the words that I think about money. So not only do I think about money, but what do I say about money? How do I view money in essence? So that's what I got out of it. It's a lot, man. I'll just pick one thing and grab onto it, but
Yeah, perfect. Love it. Brian?
Yeah, I just what really stuck out to me was the story about the fanticide with the baby girls. It all started with scarcity. Like, we talk about scarcity and we talk about it as like, oh, we need to be above the line and everything else. At the core, the cost of the dowry drove these people to actually murder baby girls. Like, that's scarcity at a crazy, it seems like a crazy level. But it was reality, and it was what was happening. And so many people had their head in the sand that they just kind of, without saying it was okay, gave permission for it. And then I love that she challenged, or those women challenged her, what is it in your society? What is it that's wrong, that's not being spoken about in your society? And it was violence. For her, it was violence in movies, violence in society, and everything else. So it just kind of made me stop thinking about it. And then your question, I don't have an answer, like a really good one, I feel like, but I'm definitely questioning, like, what is it? What is it for me? What is it for me that I'm given that nod to by not speaking out against it? And then, and like I said, it was crazy that money, a dowry, was the driving force behind murdering baby girls. That's in our society, that's insane. That's crazy. But that was her point, that it's really easy to point out the faults in other people's cultures, but are you willing to look at your own and kind of question your own culture?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, and I think that's to the point was really the question for me. It's easy to get hooked on the things going there, but there's things going on in our own backyard in our lives that this being able to look at what we do and why we do it and really questioning why is that is really profound. It's really important. So thank you, Anthony.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm, I'm gonna walk close to the edge, because this is, I mean, the way this is going can be very, very one, profound, two, controversial, three, raise a lot of ire. So, but I'm going to say this, that for me, when we look at the culture that we have here as Octavians, one of the things that had at a point become for me a crisis in consciousness was we have this colloquial expression that you cannot say the wrong thing to the right person or the right thing to the wrong person. And that is in direct contradiction to what I believe, because what I believe, the wisdom of Solomon, he says that a brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city. And if that is so, then I can say the wrong thing to the right person and turn them off and lose them. So I think that for me, being able to decipher what is going to benefit me and what is going to help me to advance the cause or my cause, I have to examine that. And if what I'm hearing contradicts what I believe is going to progress me or move me forward, then I have to make a decision. Am I going to go along because everyone says it? Or am I going to take a stand and say, well, you know what? I just believe that, yeah, you can, because if you offend a person, you shut them down. The wall comes up and they don't hear anything you have to say. And they very well may have wanted to hear it.
Yeah, that was very well couched, by the way. I got that. I'm going to say it like this because this is how I understood it, and I'm not trying to change what you said, but I think what I took from not only what you said but what I read was, and this is what I wrote down. I understand now that the cultural beliefs, social norms, societal norms may praise me for the things that may go against my values. The very things that may demean or devalue my life. Meaning, there is a cost to saying, I know this isn't the way you expect me to be in this culture, but this doesn't align with my values. I'm aware, and I'm not willing to accept praise for it anymore. That's how I took what you said. A part of it, I also understand that there is a responsibility we have. And one of the things that I'm learning is it's so much more important to be a better listener than a talker. And I think you have the ability to understand where someone is, and there has to be a level of trust in order for you to engage them in a meaningful conversation. Because you're right, some people will be turned off, and you can say the wrong thing and in that communication with someone because they don't understand, or maybe they don't value your thoughts, opinions, right? Whatever, right? So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. Okay, great stuff. Okay, so next one. This is kind of one that kind of with
Tim,
all. Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
I think Michelle Murray had her hand up
I'm sorry,
before Anthony and Brian, and you missed it. So I'm not sure if she still wanted to share.
Thank you.
It's okay. We can go ahead, Tim.
No, this is for all of you. So,
So I guess there was two things that I kind of relate to, like as in social norms, as we talk about, like in job force, military, corporate, whatever. Sometimes it was the norm to tell off-color jokes, or just kind of joke around and that kind of stuff, and people just accepted it as it is, whether it was sexual harassment or anything like that, or hazing. So it was just an accepted thing. But now more and more, I mean, you see society stepping in more to say, no, it's not right. that's not acceptable. So that's just one thing that I've actually seen and been part of in my former life. But like currently right now with like money wise, when we talk to money, so my husband and I, we kind of are alienated from the rest of the family now on his side of the family, except for our in-laws. You know, me and Michael, you know, we're comfortable where we're at. And so we like the finer things. We like doing things and like traveling and stuff. But for, I guess, their norm, it's kind of like you're showing off. You're, you know, you're bragging, you're, you know, just, you're living a lie or whatever. And so that's something that, you know, we've had to accept and just kind of break ties a little bit or love people from afar, because you know that all that negativity isn't good for you. So it's basically saying, you know, you can say whatever you want to say, but this is our life and this is your life.
I love it. Yeah, that's perfect and well said, because the next question is really, Michelle, and for everybody. So as you're starting to kind of use this information in your own life, what do you need to take a stand for that society praises you for that doesn't align with your values? So this is really a question for you. Again, this is a safe place. I would hope that at this point we know, like, we all may see things a little differently, and that's okay. This is really not to seek each other's approval or agreement. This work is for you to do for you, but this is the ability to be really powerful with yourself and take a stand. So it says, one of the things I took from this to kind of, and I'll rephrase the question again, when we take a stand, we gain power for our vision. And so as you're creating a vision in your life, this question is for you to kind of like take a stand in something. So what do you need to take a stand for that society praises you for that doesn't align with your values? Rachel, you wanted to add something?
Yes, let me know if you can hear me okay.
Good.
Okay, so I think what it is for me, and it's been this for a while, I just became more passionate about it, especially now on this mission and in helping the people that we love so much to build businesses and not lose themselves in the work. And for myself, I think busy as a badge is something that I love to talk about, to challenge. Oftentimes, when I do challenge the concept, it's met with resistance or even defensiveness. And that can be hard to stay the course. It's easier just to back down and agree and kind of wink at it. But when you see a society that is busy and yet not productive, it really speaks to you. And it's funny because yesterday I was at the park with my daughter and we were talking about someone that is from another country that attends our church was telling my daughter and a group of her friends that, because she's from, I believe she's from Argentina, but she was just saying, you know, the thing that I won't get used to while being here is all of your busyness. She said, from my opinion, the Western culture is running around like chickens with their head cut off, but they're not really accomplishing anything. And I won't succumb to that culture because life is to be lived and enjoyed. And my daughter was like, wow, that's so true. And it just broke a conversation open where, again, 168 hours that I get a week. And how am I helping society to awaken to the idea that busy is not a badge to wear, you know? And so it challenges me. It challenges me first and foremost with my schedule. And then also awakening others to that idea is very unpopular.
Yeah, I love that. And I think for me, I'm going to go first. And just so I'd love for you guys to take a stand here if you choose to. But so for me, the big one has always been with our business is like people that make a lot of money. that this could be something viable for them. Like I almost like as I have conversations with people, this is still me unbecoming, but maybe even 6 months ago, if someone was making 3, 4, 500,000, it was like, yeah, it's just your ability to help people. I know you don't need the money. And I think what I'm starting to see is that that's what society expects me to say. And not that I'm a victim to that. I think part of it is that that's what I've come to believe. That certain amount in my mind is enough, right? And the reality is I know better. And I know better. And so I had a great conversation with someone on the airplane home on Sunday that will be hopefully joining us very soon, that runs a very large company and 70 years old, still working because it's just not enough, and is working himself into the ground. And by all of our standards, would have plenty of money. But the reality is not all money is good money, and I know that. And this vehicle would be a tremendous gift for him. And just having the passion and my conviction to move past that thing that I believed for so long, and that number may be different for each one of you, is that what we get to do, and we've talked about this with vocational wellness, like this is an amazing business to be in because you get to help people become all of the things that money can't buy, no amount, right? And so anyways, that's just a little bit about my thought. Anyone for you? Again, the question, what do you need to take a stand for that society praises you for that doesn't align with your values?
I'm gonna share.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna share. Hi, guys. So I was looking at just the title of our topic, this topic, taking a stand. And then in the little print under it, it says that give people a center and they stand fast. And then when you go over, when you go to page 189, I hear some noise in the background. Can you guys hear me?
My feet firmly planted on the ground.
Can you guys hear me?
Faye, can you mute yourself?
I'm working on it. And by the way, let me just put this in here real quick, Sherry. I know I'm working on it right now, but what I was going to say is we got about 30 more seconds. I'm going to try to mute them, but there are some people coming in, and for oh, I'm sorry, Michelle, if you cannot allow anyone else in for a minute, we'll close this up and right after Sherry's comment here.
Okay, so page 189, I'll try to make it quick. So it says somewhere mid down, it says money so dominates the landscape that it provides all the rational anyone needs to do anything, even something that conflicts with their own integrity. And I wanted to share, I think that's what somewhere around what Anthony mentioned. And I wanted to say that for me, Optavia is a vehicle that God called me to. So therefore, it aligns with the stand that I've already taken. So there are people, everybody that knows me knows that I'm Miss Hospitality. People would come to my house and call me Miss Susie Homemaker. And guys, it's okay because I've taken a stand that I'm Miss Hospitality, so it doesn't bother me. So what Optavia does, it helps me to flow in the gift that God have already called me to. So Patrick says enhances. So I love the family dinners. I love coming together at my table. So I'm not going to compromise that integrity. And Optavia just falls right in there for me. So who cares? They don't pay my bills. So that's all I wanted to share.
I love it. That was perfect. Thank you so much. That was a great way to end this time for taking this stand. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. Please stay on for the team call. Rachel's going to come in here. I'm going to shut the camera off for a minute. We'll get set up and we'll get started. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. We're going to be doing, let's see, where are we at? The Power of Conversation, I think, is next week. Excited. Thank you.